What do you got? Dargan, you kicking it off?
I guess I can. Obviously, it's been a tough stretch, but there's still plenty left, plenty of optimism. I know which side you lean on. Just what's kind of been finding that balance of urgency with reality.
Yeah, I think it's always urgent if you're always chasing, greatness. But I think it's really easier every day at practice, and even in the games when they're just a really good group. They really work hard. They never lose any perspective. Are they disappointed? Definitely. Do they so wish that we would be winning? Absolutely. Are they a little underconfident? Yes. But there's just different vibes on teams. I think every coach will tell you that. They just have a really good perspective, and they're fun to coach every day. So that's the thing that always gets you, going through a tough patch. And it just, when teams are predominantly young, sometimes it can really, you just ascend, it's that climb of the innocence, which we did a little bit, probably overachieved a little bit early. I think we got some breaks of the schedule was challenging. But I think some of the opponents were also putting some pieces together. At that point, we were able to put them together a little faster. Virginia Tech, take for example, they just kind of had a great win over Georgia Tech, but it took them a little while to get all those pieces together. So I think a combination of that, I think myself knowing what was ahead with who we were playing, and I think I said that when we hit Tennessee. We didn't get Tennessee. I loved our fight. When we did a great job and, beat a, really good Iowa State team. But when we played Michigan State, we didn't quite get that one. So it wasn't like I was surprised. I just knew those turnovers. I knew what I was seeing even against our practice squad, against our male practice, our guys. The pressure cookers and what we needed to do, it was a little tough sledding. So am I disappointed? Yes, but I'm not totally surprised, because a lot of the most productivity right now is our youth. And if the most productivity is your youth, sometimes in those big moments, when we've had the games that we haven't won, they're young, but they're also the reason that we fought back, right? So if we get our upperclassmen playing less tight and more productive, and if our freshmen keep on their little ascension, I really do believe we're closer. And that's why it's fun to coach every day, because when it all comes together, the stretches that I do see against our practice squad, that's what gives me a lot of hope, because then it's like those aha moments.
You talk about pieces, and you've got Stolte, you've got a Folger, you've got the third leading scorer in the nation from last year. How close? How well are the pieces fitting together? I mean, round peg, square hole.
Yeah, I feel like we're closer. We're going to continue to try to make the adjustments that we can set people up in the best possible positions for them to showcase that their strengths. And I think that's what's been a little harder. We haven't got people consistently playing to their strengths. And I'd like to think that it's coming, but I feel like, we make shots in practice. Lucy, the other night, 4 for 12, that's a little uncharacteristic. She was a more high volume shooter at Villanova. I think sometimes people forget that she had to take a lot of those shots. And so that number isn't as high. And so that takes a little while sometimes, that shift in mentality. Hannah, we got to get Hannah, back to, hitting those, layups and shots. So, I definitely think it's closer, but I can't explain to you yet why or how or when, but I'm tweaking different places, different roles, and I believe I'm going to hit it.
You made some, just looking back at the minutes played against Indiana, it looks like you made some tough decisions with sitting some people and playing some. I mean, Taylor McCabe, I think Taylor Stremmel and Ava Hyden all played career highs for minutes. Is that something that you feel like you're maybe getting more comfortable with? I need to make some tough decisions.
Yeah. I think that the game flow, and I think the biggest thing is when you do that is how the players respond. And they were responding, and I think the people who didn't get into the game at that particular moment also responded, because that's the thing. If you're going to be able to play who's kind of hot at the moment, is the people that aren't have to kind of relinquish that. And I think that was a good step in the right direction. But I think those Taylor McCabe she just does her job. And she's like, if you want me to come off the bench for that spark, I'm there. You want me to start, I'm there. You want me to wait till the third quarter, I'm there. And she's kind of set the tone with that. But I think that Stremlow and Hyden are consistently showing that they make a change. They make a difference. And sometimes there's mistakes that come with that. But that youth, and they're playing with just their, Taylor's IQ and Ava bounce and her athleticism. And, when you're freshmen, I can understand some of the mistakes at times. And, when you're older, the bar's a little harder or higher, that, I expect our upperclassmen to, be able to kind of toe that line a little better. So that they got their shot, and I thought they answered really beautifully.
I know this is a team that from the start of the season, they seem to have a lot of fun, really enjoy
Yeah.
each other, really fun-loving group. Has it been difficult at all with these last 3 losses, especially to keep that mentality alive?
Yeah.
You have to really make sure that they're focused on still having fun, having a positive energy in the locker room?
Yeah, I think, anybody, when you lose, it's not fun, right? It's not nearly as lighthearted. It's not nearly as, it's just like if you have you do a couple bad stories, right? Or you have to start it over. You're mad at yourself. You're disappointed. But man, when you get your shot and your question is great, the response is great, it's just like, that's just exactly what happens in the locker room. And the difficult part is what I've been that's what I've worked on, because we're predominantly young. They haven't been there. So they can all of a sudden think, oh man, maybe we aren't that good. It's just keeping them steady and understanding that adversity is really a part of it if you handle it well. And that's the $1 million question. I think our leadership has to handle it well and know that it isn't fun, but we can still play with joy. We can still play hard. And as long as we keep trying to go through, I think that we will be just fine. But so as a coach, you kind of balance. I'll give you an example. After the Illinois game, I was very hot and disappointed with their play. What I saw there, I just saw a little flatness for the first time. I felt like we didn't really see some moments. So the next day at practice, we had a different discussion. After Indiana, they really did battle. We closed gaps a couple of times. We just didn't turn a corner. But I saw a different type of feel. And so that's where, managing that. The Illinois performance, I thought, was much more disappointing. Just that in the end of it, we just missed so many. Our upperclassmen, young, everybody didn't take what the huddle and go out there, right, because of the pressure. So it was easier after Indiana to keep that lightness, because I love what I saw. You guys, Garzone, Chloe, and Sydney, they have been there. They've been there. They acted like they'd been there. No excuse. We could have won, but it's different. And so I had to keep that in mind. The people I was playing at the end against that, who they took South Carolina in the Sweet 16 as close as anybody took South Carolina. And I watched that game and I was like, holy buckets. I was really, happy for them back then. I thought they could have done it. So it's just a little bit of you gotta take the little wins as a coach with that youth. And I thought they won a lot of things against a really vet team. But I think Indiana, they were great. They came into a hot environment, and they started not so great, and they've starting to figure it out. So I got to figure it out again.
Stan mentioned last month that Aaliyah was pretty nervous going into the Washington State game. I asked her just now if she was nervous going into her first start, and she said she was surprised she wasn't more nervous.
But she's been pretty confident since, getting
Yeah.
into action. How does that confidence strike you?
I love Aaliyah, and that's why she got it there, because it was a smaller lineup. And, trying to kind of play to the different lineups at times, or just seeing if that would have really sparked us. And we did have a better start. It was kind of our middle that we didn't, handle as well. But Aaliyah, I really love how Aaliyah plays. I like her mentality. I love her approach. And, she just didn't shoot as well that game. And she had a couple freshman moments. But I don't worry about Aaliyah. She's rock steady. And as long as when she just keeps getting more minutes and experience, I'm very confident in her leading our team. And I'm really excited about what she's going to bring at key minutes the rest of this year. But moving in with all what I'm seeing now with who we have coming in, I'm very thankful we have Aaliyah at that spot.
From your perspective, how pivotal is this next 3-game stretch?
Yeah.
With Nebraska and
Yeah.
games.
I think if you don't want to be white knuckled, at the end of it, and putting a lot more pressure, on every other game after that, I do think it's pivotal. Do I think it's back against the wall for tomorrow night? I don't. What I want to see tomorrow night is us kind of playing with that rhythm a little bit more consistency of kind of the free flowing. And I think if we do that, we'll put ourselves in a better position to actually, win the game. But I'm not quite ready to say, like, man, if, we don't win, at least 2 out of 3, it's all over. I think more so I need us to start playing consistently how I know we can play to give us a really good chance to win a back and forth where you don't get down 14-16 and then come on back, and then you're putting a lot of weight on a last minute 3 that has to go. We had 2 great looks at Illinois. Here, we were down with 4 with a minute. I can't remember exactly, but there were opportunities, but you'd worked so hard. So I do think, yes, I think it's, if we kind of want to put ourselves back into a comfortable stretch heading into the end of, wanting to be in the middle to upper of that Big Ten conference, I think it is pivotal. But, I don't know if it's a must-have, gotta-have. I think it just helps us be more comfortable. Maybe you can play freer. But I think the first step I'd like to take before having to win them is I just want this group, the kids that I'm starting to play a little bit more together, they start getting a little seasoning. And if we get seasoning, then I think we can turn it.